They charged me with resisting arrest.
Get that confidence in jail.
I object.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Allegedly Bravo, the Bravo true crime reality show, crime, whatever, shit talking podcast. I'm Lauren, and guess who's back again.
Again. It's Cash, and she's got new audio, people.
Watch out. We got a microphone.
I think this makes us official influencers / podcasters / public figures. And I'm doing all of this in a 250 square foot loft away from my rental property because, as Lauren so politely stated on the last podcast, my apartment flooded. We both tested positive for COVID and we had to relocate. So it's been a wild ride. But we're here today to talk about something that really the viewers and the fans chose. And that being, we gave you guys two options. Did you want to hear about Danielle Staub and her prostitution whore?
Prostitution whore? You are f***ing gay 19 times?
Or did you guys want to hear about the Manzo drama behind Dina Manzo's alleged attempted robbery / assault with her ex-husband, Tommy Manzo? And the viewer spoke.
And you guys screamed, honestly, to the rooftop, "We want Dina! We want Dina!"
And I could not be more proud because this is something, I think this is truly my passion project because I am a diehard New Jersey fan. It has been of one of my top shows that I watched growing up. And recently, we recently got Lauren onto it, and it's top 3 moments of my life: passing the bar, getting Lauren hooked on Potomac, and now getting Lauren hooked on New Jersey. What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive, and what a time to be a Bravo fan, because I feel like God comes into your life a few different ways. And one way that God has come into my life is by saying, "Listen, bitch, I see you. I see you watching this old ass franchise, this franchise that people are like, I don't know, is there a fake relationship for ratings?" Can you imagine watching a show that in current day, people are like, is there a fake relationship for ratings? And then being at the point in the show where it's not about that. Like today, I watched the episode where Dina said she was going to take a step away from the housewives.
You're at the point where they're still talking about whether the Manzo family is associated with the Italian mob.
And it's like, that's what I'm watching. And meanwhile, it's just as invigorating and honestly, #blessed. It's like watching Salt Lake City when Jen Shah got indicted. It's like,
even though we haven't seen that yet.
Like, I'm living a dream. Not many people are in the position that I'm in today. And I understand that. I see my privilege and I'm going to use it to talk about it.
Because you're enjoying Housewives in the early stages because you're in season 2.
Yeah.
Where they were very unfiltered, unapologetic. They weren't as materialistic as they are now. They weren't playing to the cameras. It wasn't overly produced. But you're getting that with the drama, the family ties, the incestual relationship, which is just primetime peak housewife.
And I come to this project with the baseline understanding of 13 years. I'm coming here with 13 years of information. I mean, I guess so are you.
I started watching Real Housewives of New Jersey when I was wearing a low-rise jean, a V-neck white top, a Kanye West scarf, a parted hairline with a very, very sharp bang, and a cherry red base with platinum blonde hair. That is when I watched it, and you're watching it at the age of 30 with a whole different perception on life.
And I'm watching it at the age of 30, a bottle and a half of wine in, with pink hair, and no shoes, no bra, no job.
My entire computer screen is covered in seltzer. So, given that you have been watching this podcast from this perspective, whose side are you on? Dina or Caroline's?
And see, I know that this is a rift in our friendship, but Dina.
See, and that speaks volumes to the time you're watching this show, because watching it 13 years ago, Die Hard, Caroline Manzo, Brownstone, Albie, Lauren Manzo, Vito, her husband, Die Hard, because I loved the familial side of it, and they just had it all, throwing the freaking ham cutlets on the cabinet.
I love the ham game.
I know, and you said it last week in the podcast, but I disagree with your hatred towards Caroline, but I also understand your position, because the information we received this week was mind-blowing.
I mean, so mind-blowing. And it's like, I just feel so blessed to live in a time where my interests align with those of the mob, because it's like, I feel like back in the day, it's like,
we just had Sopranos.
And it's like, I barely ever watched that, but come to find out that it's allegedly loosely based on the Manzo family ties is okay. So when I just said that, your eyebrows just raised really high and your ears perked back, I'm going to talk about it.
Okay, so what do you mean their ties? Even though this is my passion project, I did not do any research. So
it's your passion project, which means I should be telling you about it, because it's like, you're passionate about it. It's like, what do you want to hear about more than something that you're passionate about? So from what I've learned, allegedly there are 5 main mob families: Bonanno, Colombo, Gambino, Giovanese, and Lucchese.
I think they're going to come and shoot you for the way that you mispronounced each and every one of those.
Okay, so mob families, I just want to say, like, this is with all due, I don't speak Italian and I'm drunk.
They're going to throw cement blocks on your ankles and drop you in the Hudson.
Do you know how mad I'd be? Because first of all, I'd have to board a flight, knowing that if someone were going to drown me in the Hudson, there's no way they'd buy any other seat for me other than stewage. Probably last row of the airplane, probably a window seat, probably in an airplane full of like people going to an IBS convention.
Yeah. So speaking of getting dropped in the Hudson, how many cement blocks do you think it would take to sink you?
God, a lot.
Like, I think they would actually have to stick my feet in those, Home Depot paint buckets and fill them up with cement. Because
I think you'd even have to do more for me, because like I'm a okay swimmer. Like, I've been in a pool before.
I mean, I'm a great swimmer, but really what's going to lift me up are these tatas and this fat percentage and this BMI.
See, lucky for you is like wherever your like inflatables are, wherever your air catchers are, is in the front. Mine's in the back. I'm working with an ass. So I'm going to be face down, ass up in the water, and I'm going to drown. It's just so sorry to the mob and all of their extended families. Like, I know how to say Lucchese, which is probably wrong, but it's the only one that makes sense to me.
No, it sounds great. And are they the topic of combo?
So, yeah. Shall I just get started?
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, so once upon a time, there was an Italian princess who had the cutest of accents, and her name was Dina.
Okay.
And she was the youngest of 11 children. And being the youngest of 11 children, she had an older sister whose name was Caroline Manzo, and a brother whose name was Chris Lorita.
Oh, that's sex pot.
You think that Jackie's husband is a sex bot?
Absolutely.
Ugh. Why?
Have you seen him congregate with the other husbands in the basement while they eat charcuterie boards and shove prosciutto into their mouths and play poker?
Prosciutto. Yeah. I do love prosciutto.
I don't know. He's just like a no nonsense kind of guy. Like, really,
yeah, he's like a little white guy.
Likes cheese. He likes meat. He drinks his red wine out of a small glass.
Just plain a little poker. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So Dina Manzo is the youngest of 11 children, married to a man named Thomas, aka Tommy.
Okay.
Did you know that Dina and Tommy's marriage wedding was actually appeared on VH1's My Fabulous Wedding in 2007?
I do. And did you know that before they got married, she was well aware of the fact that he had previously cheated on her?
No.
Yeah. And she
What do you mean?
She found out that he had cheated on her prior to them getting married, and she decided to go forward with it.
Okay, so obviously,
of course, I don't know how much of that was produced from the show or if that was a storyline, but
allegedly,
it is what I read in the New York Post.
Allegedly. So she married Thomas Manzo. They appeared on VH1's My Fabulous Wedding in 2007. And then, I don't know if you knew this, but she had actually her own show on HGTV. Were you aware?
No.
It was called Dina's Party, and they had 2 seasons.
Oh my God, they're a thirsty little family for fame.
So that's what I'm saying is it's like, okay, so
Interesting.
let's just approach this conversation with the base knowledge that she got married on TV and then threw parties on TV. Okay.
And then got divorced
on TV and then got attacked by the mob on TV. Not victim blaming, but I'm saying. Okay. So Dina's sister is Caroline. Her brother is Chris. Jackie from the show married Chris. Okay. First of all, this is what went down on May 13th, 2017. Oh, I'm sorry. I should actually go back. So Dina married Thomas. Her sister Caroline married Thomas's brother.
Okay.
So both of these people are Caroline and Dina are married to brothers, sisters married to brothers.
Yeah.
Okay. May 13th, 2017.
Wait, really quickly. Isn't the Manzo's dad a mobster? Wasn't he killed and like stuffed in a trunk?
Yeah. So I can actually scroll down for my notes. I feel like such a nerd whenever we do this podcast with my notes, but Caroline and Dina's husbands, their father was named Tiny Manzo, which was supposed to be funny because he was fat. So allegedly, Tiny Manzo was part of the Lucchese crime family. And he was involved in the Lucchese crime family. Associated. Well, allegedly back in the day, Tiny Manzo was charged with attempted skimming of a mob casino. Do you know what that is?
Stole money?
It means they went in, Tiny and some other guy, his partner, went into some other family's casino, had a assault rifle and just fucking shot it up. I don't know if anyone was hurt or if it was just to cause a shakeup.
Whoa.
But okay, so 3 weeks later, he was found bound and gagged in his trunk of his car.
In his trunk.
Which allegedly, what I heard is he was found on Caroline Manzo's birthday. Did you hear that?
No.
So I heard that allegedly he was found, his poor body, God rest his soul, was found on Caroline's birthday. And to make Caroline feel better, Big Al gifted her with a gorgeous piece of jewelry.
Okay, wait. I kind of remember this from the Real Housewives. I feel like they talked about this.
That's when Caroline was like, listen, babe, Al, I love you. I love your family. I'm in. She becomes part of the family. Great. The more the merrier. So allegedly.
Strategic?
That's a good question. I think we'd have to ask her, but I don't think it was strategic. I think she just so happened to fall in love with a bad boy.
Well, because I think they adamantly deny the fact that there's any type of connection to the mob, correct? Because in the early stages of Jersey, I think Andy Cohen used to ask them, and they said absolutely not. My father-in-law is just a very hardworking man. He has no affiliation or ties, but
so allegedly there's no ties.
Okay.
What had happened was Caroline married Al, right? So here's another thing that I heard allegedly that is probably maybe true, but also maybe not. I got this from blindgossip.com.
Very reputable.
So let me read you the blind item. No one should be surprised that this reality star and her husband are splitting. Why not? Because there was nothing real about their marriage in the first place. He needed a beard and she needed someone with a lot of money to support her. It worked out fine for the first few years. She pretended to be a devoted wife and he lived across the street with his boyfriend. However, as more family lies and tensions about sexuality and business and crime and money and loyalty piled on over the years, sustaining the non-relationship became impossible. Interestingly enough, her siblings are more supportive of him in the split. So much for family. That was the blind item, and it was revealed to be Dina. So allegedly, according to some random ass website that's a blind item gossip website, Dina was Tommy's beard.
Interesting. I think I've heard that actually.
It could be true. It could not be true. That's just what some random website said. Okay.
We might have to cut that.
Well, it's whatever. I mean, we didn't say that. Blindgossip.com said that.
Okay. So Caroline's married to Albert, Albie, who works and owns the brownstone. They have their kids together. Then Dina's married to Tommy. This is in the early stages of Housewives when they start filming. She was married to Tommy at this time. However, Tommy never showed up on screen, never wanted to participate in the filming, even though he worked at the brownstone, which was very, very strange because I remember I thought he had like a Wall Street gig or something that could potentially cause a conflict, but he just chose not to be on the show. So then they separate, I think, very shortly thereafter. Didn't they separate in like 2012, but their divorce wasn't finalized until 2016?
Yes, correct. So, yeah. So it's about a four-year divorce process, allegedly.
So Dina and Caroline were very close during the early stages of filming. However,
I mean, they were sisters. They married brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. And their sister-in-law was on the show with her brother, their brother.
Exactly.
But something happens during the filming of Housewives. I don't think it was ever really talked about or the known reason why. But Caroline, I watched some like YouTube clips of like newer interviews with her where she said like Dina's chosen not to actively participate with their family, has chosen, kind of to disengage and not be a part of it, which has caused a rift between Caroline and Dina, and then Dina and Albert and everybody else. But I don't think there's like one specific incident that the public is aware of as to why they don't get along.
So Tommy and Dina separated in October of 2012. And in February of 2016, the divorce was finalized. And that's when Dina moved on, and she moved with her current husband named Dave Canton. Do you know who he is?
I just know he's like an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, I guess he owns an automotive holding company. And like, I don't know what a holding company is. Does he just like own a bunch of cars?
I don't know, but it sounds rich. And good for her for moving on and finding happiness.
I agree.
Well, because really quickly, he was attacked first, right? Like there's multiple incidences.
So we should talk about so there's multiple incidences. I only know about the masked robber one.
You do?
Which one are you talking about?
Okay, so I'm talking about this incident that happened in 2015 where Canton, who is Dina's now husband, then boyfriend, fiance, he was going to a strip mall and was going shopping, and Tommy Manzo had this
allegedly.
Well, I don't think it is alleged. I think he pled guilty. Tommy Manzo's been indicted for it, but also his co-conspirator or the actual aggressor suspect has pled guilty.
So that's the indictment that I read then, I think.
Yeah, that's why I said we don't have the indictment for the robbery.
Oh my God. I mean,
So-
this guy just can't catch a break.
No. And you know what? It makes sense though, that like the vengefulness of it all.
Okay.
Like
So
the only type of people that are capable of that type of vengeance are a gay man or a woman.
a gay man or a woman. So did we already talk about how?
Yeah, we can talk about that, and then we can just talk about the incident that happened in 2017. Okay, so the first incident that involved Mr. Tommy Manzo was an incident stemming from 2015, where Tommy Manzo had hired a man by the name of John Perna. And they were both indicted on federal charges. Count one was for racketeering. So it was a violent crime in aid of racketeering activity, assault with a dangerous weapon. Count two was conspiracy to commit an assault with a dangerous weapon and an assault resulting in serious bodily injury. Count three was conspiracy to commit wire fraud and mail fraud, falsifying, concealing records related to a federal investigation, and that one's against Thomas Manzo.
Yeah.
So let's go from the beginning. So count one of the indictment states that defendant John Perna was a member of a criminal organization referred to as the Lucchese crime family that operated in New Jersey, New York, and elsewhere. Accomplice one was an associate of the Lucchese crime family. Defendant Thomas Manzo was an associate of defendant John Perna. The Lucchese crime family was part of a nationwide criminal organization known by various names such as the Mafia, La Cosa Nostra, and the Mob, which operated through entities known as families. The Lucchese crime family, including its leadership, members, and associates, constituted an enterprise.
Okay. So what I learned about like what the enterprises are, it's like basically just like a group of people who are in the business of doing business, like businessmen in business suits doing business things with business suitcases.
You're using the term business very loosely. It's a group of people that are engaged in criminal activity.
Right. But the thing says business because the actual code section calls it a group of individuals that in fact engage in and the activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce.
Okay, so this is part of the indictment that I find to be very interesting because they break down basically like the structure of the enterprise, that being the Lucchese family.
Yeah.
So it says Lucchese crime family operated through groups of individuals headed by persons called captains or capos who control crews that consist of made members who in turn control subordinates who are known as associates of the enterprise. Made members are elevated to their position through induction ceremonies in which they pledge allegiance to their enterprise for family. The made members are often referred to themselves as Amica Nostra, friends of ours, or wise guys. Capos approve all significant actions taken by made members and associates on behalf of the enterprise. In return, a capo typically received a share of the illegal earnings of each crew, referred to as tribute. Otherwise, a made member controls the day-to-day criminal activities of his own crew and enjoys the benefits of the criminal activities.
So like basically this means that there's like the captain, the capo, say I'm the capos, the main guy, the head honcho, the one who's in charge, the CEO, if you will. And then like the maid member.
Pyramid scheme.
It is a pyramid scheme.
And
then the maid members are, it's MADE also, which like I don't understand. I would like more information on why they named it maid member.
Yeah, it is odd.
It doesn't make sense. But it sounds like once you're like going to be a maid member, you get hazed through this like induction ceremony. And it's like fraternities, you know, like that's how they allegedly get you to like be a part of the family for life. I would also say Scientology has a lot of the same behavior.
Absolutely. But it's definitely more relatable to street gangs, you know?
Oh, yeah. And then the other thing that I found interesting, like how you said it's like a pyramid scheme, is like the maid members, like they get a little cut, a little piece of the pie of like their own little crimes. But the head honcho, the capo, I'm assuming it's all men. No one's told me otherwise. Allegedly, the capo, they get a little piece of everybody's pie. So it's like they're the people who are like in the pockets of everybody.
It's like mobsters that sell airborne or whatever that's called. Arbonne.
Oh my God. It's like that Monet hair care stuff.
Yeah. Are housewives the new mob? Okay, so let's move on to the actual charges.
Okay.
Okay.
It's important to remember that, like, so the two main people who are involved in this, there's the Perna guy, who was the member of the crime family, an accomplice of him, Mr. Tommy Manzo, who's the co-owner of the Brownstone, which is a venue, which is very important to know as the indictment goes through.
And there's so many other people that are on the peripheral of this indictment.
So I have like a little summary of what happened.
Go for it.
Okay, so allegedly, Tommy was mad that Dina had a new man. The Canton guy, Dave, I think I said his name was. And he planned to have a violent assault committed on Dave that would leave a permanent facial scar, like scar him permanently on the face. So that's like Tommy like hired Perna, or discussed that with Perna, to, hey, I need to hire you to like permanently scar this guy across the face. And in exchange, like if you take care of that, like allegedly the Brownstone would have hooked Perna up with like a free or deeply discounted wedding reception. That's how he paid for, allegedly, how he's being accused of paying for the service.
I don't think you need to say allegedly anymore, because John Perna was sentenced to 10 years in state prison back in January of 2016 on racketeering charges related to a multi-million-dollar gambling and money laundering operation.
But that's different.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, that is different. So cut that out. No, we did.
No.
It says, okay, John Perna. This was from Federal News Network. Date of issue is December 17, 2020. It says a reputed mobster admitted assaulting the, oh my God, I can't talk. I don't have my glasses on. I can't read. John Perna, 43, of Cedar Grove, New Jersey, pleaded guilty Wednesday to a federal charge of committing a violent crime in aid of racketeering activity. Prosecutors allege the former husband of cast member Dina Manzo, Tommy Manzo, hired Perna to assault his ex-wife's then boyfriend. Perna is part of the Lucchese organized crime family and carried out the assault with a member of his crew in July 2015, prosecutors said. Authorities said a month later that Perna held a wedding reception for 330 guests at the Brownstone in Paterson, New Jersey, for a fraction of the price. Many of the guests were members of the Lucchese crime family, according to the prosecutor. Perna faces up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine when he's sentenced on April 28th. So he had to have been sentenced.
Unless it got continued.
Maybe because of COVID.
Yeah.
But everything's back. Yeah, I don't see anything of recent regarding his plea. And you know what I wonder is whether or not he took some, I mean, I doubt it, because, you know, like the Italians, they don't knock. Like, they're not knocks. But I was going to say, I wonder if he made a deal with prosecutors. I doubt it. But anyways, let's get back into the nitty gritty of it all.
So apparently Perna had his accomplice follow Dina's new man to the strip mall and then used a slapjack to like whack him in the face.
Yeah. Which is like a billy club that's kind of loose, but if you whack, you hit somebody and knocks them out.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna Google what that looks like actually. I just think of flapjack.
A pancake?
Oh my God. So a slapjack? Oh my gosh. You know what it is? I take it back. You can take all of that out, because it looks like a wooden spoon that's covered in leather.
Ew, really?
It really does. And I'm sure it's just made of metal, and then there's a leather binding around it.
Oh my God.
And then you can just hit the shit out of somebody with it.
Honestly, like the mob, I said it once, I'll say it again. Like, if you're listening, with all due respect, like this is all alleged, and like, I mean no harm. Please don't spank me with that thing.
That's what it looks like. No, that's what it looks like. It looks like a sex toy, like something that a dominatrix used in her like underground basement cave.
Yeah.
And makes men call her mommy, you know?
Mama.
Mama. Okay, so really what happened is that John Perna and his homie his accomplice, follow Dave Canton around until he gets to the strip mall, pull out a slapjack, hit him across the face, cause injury, all at the direction allegedly of Tommy Manzo, who then, in order to compensate Mr. Perna for his
service,
gave him an extremely discounted price at the brownstone for his wedding. And then
of 350 people or whatever you just said.
330 people. And so the indictment includes different counts too, and different charges that I don't know if they're necessarily pertinent to Tommy Manzo, but there's like allegations of him hiding some BMW or having his accomplice take a BMW and get rid of it.
That was Perna. That's more of his charges.
Yeah. But this part's interesting. The falsifying and concealing records related to a federal investigation.
I mean, that's...
So they allege that Tommy Manzo did knowingly alter, conceal, cover up, falsify, and make false entries in a record document tangible object, namely the certification of an invoice and the invoice pertaining to the wedding reception of defendant John Perna, and did fail to provide records to investigators in response to a grand jury subpoena served on the venue on or about August 2nd, 2019 and thereafter, with the intent to impede, obstruct, influence the investigation and proper administration of a matter within the jurisdiction of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
AKA he wouldn't hand over the receipts for the wedding reception because the receipts did not exist.
But where do you get off thinking you could get away with a crime like this? Because
when you're in the mafia.
But I'm just saying, where there's a paper trail, and on top of that, you've invited 330 people to the brownstone where you work. And there's servers, there's guests, there's people all over the place.
Yeah, but all of the people who like work there, like you have to realize like are involved in the family, because it's like, think of, wasn't Chris working there? Like Chris was working there, and then Lauren did the hair and makeup for the brides, like all this stuff. It's like everybody is so deeply involved. Like there's not one aspect that isn't being at least overseen by one member of this actual like on paper family, like the Manzo family. So they have eyes and ears everywhere. Like nothing happens that these people don't see. And if they're all the people in charge, it's so easy to lie.
Yeah. And to me, I was unaware of this incident that happened in 2015. I was only aware of what happened in 2017 when Dina and Dave were attacked in their home. And I think that's
the confusing part for me, because I didn't even know that there were two separate events years apart. So what the hell happened in the garage? What happened?
Okay. So as you are aware, I think at this point in where you're at in New Jersey, you know that Dina Manzo is Adriana Giudice's godmother.
Right. So for everyone who like hasn't listened before, I just got on the New Jersey train. So I'm season 2. So yeah, I know Dina is the godmother of Adriana. And also I got to the episode where Dina's like, bye, not going to do this.
So Dina Manzo had started dating Dave Canton. They leave New Jersey, head off to California to kind of start this new life. And then they're there. They're living there for, I think, a decent amount of time, and then they get this invitation to come back to Jersey to attend Adriana Giudice's baptism or christening or something. So they come back for like 2 days to stay at her house. When they walk in the front door, there are 2 people inside the house, masked with baseball bats. They hit Dave Canton with a baseball bat. They zip tie them together. Allegedly, she was kicked in the stomach and kicked in the face.
Oh my God.
And attacked. Their engagement rings were stolen, and they took $500 in cash. And then one of the guys says, like, that's what you get when you fuck with people from Patterson.
And I'm from Patterson. Did you forget?
Is Patterson like a crazy area or something?
No, I just think it breeds the tough Italians, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so clearly, so they don't know what happened. They don't know who did it. They call the cops. They report it to the police. They then, I think like the next day, get on a flight back to LA to go back home.
Wow.
Well, fast forward to now, we find out, or I think last year, we find out that Tommy Manzo is again involved in this, puts basically a hit out on Dina and Tommy. They found like thousands of documents in the brownstone, because I think he's charged with stalking too.
Yeah.
Where he's obsessed with her, like obsessed with her every move.
So why? I bet you because of that blind, maybe.
Or I also read some stories about, his history of cheating, and that, he was living his best life while they were married, and then she kind of grew a pair and was like, you know what, I'm not going to be treated like this. Like, I'm leaving, I'm out. And then she found a younger, better looking version
who was probably richer.
Yeah, and straighter.
Ooh, yikes.
Of Tommy Manzo, and I think there's a resentment, a jealousy there. I don't know. There's clearly, it's psychotic. But I do want to read you this quote that I found from Caroline Manzo.
Oh my God, who allegedly wrote a character letter?
Well, we're going to get to that. And that's why this quote to me is so funny, because this is a quote from her when she found out that Tommy Manzo was going to be indicted regarding the 2015 incident.
Is this a quote boyfriend on TV, or where's this from? Like
it was in OK Magazine.
Oh, okay. Like a quote to a magazine.
Yeah. She says, "We are heartbroken." Oh my God. I'm having a stroke. We are heartbroken. This family on both sides. I want to know the truth, and my allegiance will lie with the truth. We don't run from things like this. We address them and feel comfortable with that, because we are being painted with a brush that does not reflect who we are as people. This is the most important part. Okay. It is a quote. I want to know the truth, and my allegiance will lie with the truth. It's just insane to me that you can sit here when there is enough evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, at least the prosecutors think that,
to indict someone,
to indict or present that evidence to the grand jury. The grand jury thinks there's enough evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, and for it to go to a jury and to be prosecuted. It's nuts to me that Caroline Manzo can turn a blind eye and say, you know what, I don't believe my sister. I don't believe the evidence. I'm going to stand by my brother-in-law. Because in the quote, she says, I want to know the truth, and my allegiance will lie with the truth. But that it sounds to me like there's something deeper going on here, because like you said earlier, she ended up writing a character letter for Mr. Manzo when he was at his, I don't know if it was an arraignment or a bail hearing, where the prosecution was obviously trying to keep him in custody because they said he's a flight risk. Defense attorney said absolutely not, like he's not a flight risk. And then Caroline Manzo had submitted a letter to the judge saying that she described Tommy as kind-hearted and caring.
Okay. But this is like the initial problem that I had, like when I first started this show. Seeing and like watching and listening to Caroline, like I couldn't stand her from the get-go. And it's because of this. It's because of this like intense, like dedicate. And this sounds bad to say, it's like the intense dedication to her family. Like that sounds like a great quality to have in a mom, but it's weird. Like she takes it to a level that's like so out of control. And that's kind of why, I don't know. I just think there's something weird there when you like abandon your sister and go with this guy.
Yes. And I agree with your perspective of Caroline Manzo now. Like I previously stated, I watched Jersey back in the day through a different lens.
Right.
I am now rewatching it with you.
Yeah.
And I just finished season 2 Reunion. And I now see her in a completely different light. And she lectures, she interrupts, she's condescending and rude.
Yeah.
And
so aggressive.
It is very aggressive. And like you said, I think it's like, yes, we're thick as thieves.
We're thick as thieves. Let me tell you something about my family.
Yeah. And it's when I picture Caroline Manzo, I picture her leaning forward, pointing her finger.
Totally.
And also shaving her face.
Oh my God. That picture though it's
iconic.
I love to shave my face though.
Well, yeah, but we do it with a microblade.
I know, but it still feels good. I can see why she did it with a Gillette.
Yeah. Well, you know, something that's mind blowing to me
What?
that I found out from Daniel Staub.
Oh my God, what?
Caroline Manzo and Daniel Staub are the same age.
What? I feel like a cartoon right now. Like my head is like, are you kidding? Those two people are the same age. I don't know which one shocks me more. Like, I don't know which one looks their age now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
How old are they?
They're 1 year apart.
Okay. 1 year does not make that big of a difference.
Caroline Manzo's 59 and Danielle Staub's 58.
Okay. Like, I don't want to age shame or whatever, but like, those are two completely different 58-year-olds.
Well, but now that Caroline Manzo's gone gray fully.
Yeah. It's not a good look. Not on her. She's not youthful enough. Like, she's kind of needs that fiery red, you know? Like, Caroline's like the type of lady that gets one grandkid and goes all the way gray and all of a sudden gets like joint problems, you know?
Yeah. She looks like red from
I know. But
Orange is
also
the New
then
Black.
I feel like I have this like Stockholm syndrome mentality with her, because then it's also like I would kind of love for like that little Italian lady to be my grandma. She gives good grandma vibes.
The thing is that you want her to be a part of your life, and in your, like, you wouldn't mind being a part of her family. Like, it would be entertaining. She would always have your back. I mean, as
Like if
long as you weren't her sister.
Right, as long as you weren't her sister. Like, I would want to be Lauren in that family.
Yeah. That's so funny. I just watched an episode where Lauren and Vito are together.
Yeah.
And they go to Vito's deli, the one that his family owns.
Yeah.
And Lauren says, well, because they're like, Lauren, get behind the counter, help him out. And she's like, my dad told me I never have to lift a finger.
Oh, that's cute.
And I was just like, God, I bet she lives the best life.
Oh, I bet she does. I mean, just the complete princess.
Do we, not to totally shift gears, but do we know if Caroline and Jacqueline are still friends?
I don't know. I have no idea. I would hope. Actually, I don't even know if I hope that.
Oh, I do. I love Jacqueline.
Here's the thing with Jacqueline. She is such an enabler of Ashley.
Oh, you know what I can't wait to watch?
What?
This whole Tommy Manzo trial play out.
Oh, so do you think we're gonna get to watch it?
I think it's gonna go to trial.
Oh my God.
I don't think that he's going. The level of vengefulness. The man had 300 documents in his office at the brownstone related to Dina and David. Like, okay, that man's not going to own up to it and be like, yes, I'll plead guilty.
Do we know how they found out that it was related to the Manzo guy, or was it just like because they said we're from Patterson?
No, I'm wondering. That's why I wish there was an indictment, but I'm assuming they did it without a grand jury. But I don't know. I'm sure Dina had a clue, because if David was made aware that Tommy was associated with the first attack,
right?
Because you're telling me that some random robber decided to break into Dina and David's home the day that they arrived back in New Jersey for 2 to 3 days,
sitting there waiting for them
in an empty
zip
house.
Ties. Yeah. Oh, chills.
It's just crazy. I can't wait for it to play out, and it will be shocking if he has to go to prison. And
wait, I have a comparison actually. I find Caroline Manzo's utter disregard for the fact that there's a federal indictment along the same lines as Jennifer Shaw's utter disregard for the fact that there's a federal indictment.
Yeah, Jen Shaw's living her best life, filming in Salt Lake City, and now has created a free Jen Shaw graphic with a Stu Chains graphic as well.
It's so lame.
It's super lame. And it's so tone deaf. And that's the problem I'm having with Caroline Manzo, it's like, great. I understand that you want to stand by your family because you know what? You want to watch the evidence play out. You want to hear the testimony. You want to, you're loyal to your family. But this Dina is not some random chick. It's not her friend. It's her sister.
It's your sister. Your littlest sister.
And a home burglary is one of the scariest. I think it's everybody's like
worst
biggest
nightmare.
Fear.
Yeah.
Worst, biggest nightmare, worst fear.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you can sit there, and I'm sure Tommy Manzo is a great person in his everyday life, but he is dealing with some type of psychological break that he feels the need that he has to obsess and stalk this poor woman and inflict physical pain and injury on her and her spouse.
I feel like she probably knows something that like could completely ruin everybody's life.
That's what I've heard, and that's why, and that's why maybe your blind item that you read is maybe true, but who knows?
Nobody. Only 2 people know.
I know. I want to know what their marriage was like.
I did too.
Frame. Like, I hope Dina Manzo, like, she better get a sit down with Andy.
A full one.
Like, she needs to get up and speak because we want to hear her story, because everybody's riding the Dina train. People can't stand Caroline right now. If she came out and did a tell-all special and just aired that family's dirty laundry,
she would for sure get whacked. Don't you think?
I mean, she lives in California,
yeah,
she might have to go into like witness protection, but
God, how do you be famous and then go into witness protection? It's like, no, my name's not Britney Spears. It's me, Angelica.
Well, what's that rapper? Sally. I use the term rapper loosely, but that guy who had the rainbow hair, Tekashi 6ix9ine, he ratted out all of his gang member friends and then served a prison sentence and then was released because of COVID and was placed in the witness protection unit and was transferred somewhere. But then somebody filmed him on the patio with his rainbow hair and rainbow grill and his bright pink rainbow jumpsuit, dancing on a patio like in some suburban Wisconsin neighborhood with stacks of cash.
Imagine being in hiding and having the most rainbow hair ever.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if Tekashi 6ix9ine can do it, Dina Manzo can do it.
That's so funny.
I need her to come out with a tell-all, or she needs to write a book. Like, there's got to be something, because it's not fair. And it's a part of New Jersey that really, really bothered me watching it, is when they make references. I think it happened in the first reunion where they make references to something Danielle said about
like
Dina.
About Dina. What was that? Do we know what she said?
I think it was something about like getting her child taken away.
Oh.
But then there's also things that happen later on down the road between Dina and Caroline and Jacqueline that are never spoken about, and they say they can never talk about it. And who knows if that's come to light and we've just missed it. But that's a part of Jersey that really bothered me, was the secrecy. It's like, you're on television.
TV. Yeah.
Like, you're choosing to put yourself out there on a public platform. Like,
that's why it's like so confusing. And it's like, okay, like, I didn't even know that this whole other thing happened where he got whacked in the face in the strip mall. Like,
the strip mall part of it makes me like just laugh out loud.
I mean, okay, but also like when I was watching Jersey, there's a lot of strip malls. Like when Danielle went to get her tits out and, she had like a deformed boobie and she got her tits out, and then they like zoomed out on the like surgical center, and like 4 of the neon lights of the letters were out, and it was like a strip mall with like the next door neighbor was like a dry cleaner and like a Chinese restaurant.
Skip and like outlet.
I know, it's like, oh my God, you had your breasts open and removed next door to a fucking dry cleaner.
I don't know why. I just pictured the doctor like doing the surgery, and then you know how the strip malls in the back, they have the alleyway with the back doors and the addresses.
like with Sir, the back lot of Sir.
And I just pictured the doctor like cutting out her tit and just going back to the dumpster and just
throwing it out. Like there's a raccoon back there just like
I mean, Jersey, Jersey has stepped its game up, though, I guess, in terms of the glam, I guess.
I don't know yet because I don't know anything about the modern day stuff. I'm still like, I didn't know that Jacqueline Lorietta wasn't even on the show anymore.
Oh my God, you're in for it. You are in the prime of it all. Like the thickness.
When I tell you how I squealed and chuckled when Teresa said, "Is bitch better?" Is bitch better? Huh?
Don't call me honey. Is bitch better?
Yeah. Oh my God. And then, did you forget? I came from Patterson. I died.
Oh, get ready for the reunion. It's so funny. And they bring, like, Jersey brings the heat. And the level of physical violence that happens on this show is inspiring to other franchises.
I've seen like the reference and seen the like video of Teresa pushing Andy, but like I don't know the context of that. And I'm so excited.
That is season 2 reunion.
Oh my God. So I'm like hot on the heels. I'm going to see it happen.
Like 10 minutes in.
Oh my God. I what have I been waiting for?
It's so fabulous.
So is there anything we missed with this poor Dina? Oh, by the way, I messaged her last night in my drunken stupor. I messaged her and I go, "Oh, we're doing a podcast. And like, I just wanted to know if you had like a comment, like, as a victim of trauma myself, like tell your story, like love you." And then she didn't write back. So I'm assuming she has no comment.
And you know what? We will keep you updated if we have like Manzo breaking news, like we will be delivering our hot takes as soon as it hits the press, because I'm so deeply invested in this and I'm so glad you're on this train with me and you jumped on that train right at the perfect time.
Mm-hmm. God was looking out for me. He said, "Sis, I got you." Also, one last thing before we go, please, for the love, send us your mugshots / your arrest stories. Very curious.
Please send them. We will let you know. And even if you have like a bad arrest story or something, or you want some,
no, we're not giving any legal advice. We won't give you any legal advice, but we will talk shit on you.
Okay, cannot wait. And you guys let us know what you want to hear about next.
Yeah, slide in the DMs. Okay, talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.